Burlington traffic, Archer 824 Delta X-ray taking off runway 6, departure to the east, Burlington. Okay, mixture full rich, fuel pump blending light on. Set this to altitude, enter, and we'll set a timer. Alright, you ready?
Ready. And I'm not touching anything unless you tell me.
Alright. There's 6, full power. Airspeed's alive, engine instruments in the green. And rotate. The way it kind of works is, I sort of describe it as clear days are like vegetables in that they look, or no, clear days are like candy in that they look good, but they're not very good for you, in that the clear days tend to be the bumpiest because it's when all the particulates are shaken out of the air. So any sort of cloudy, overcast, hazy, it's just going to be glass smooth flying.
What kind of particulate levels do we get around here?
It's not really something that we look at.
I've got a friend in Delhi, India, who's saying that they got up over 600 ppm.
Wasn't it that over 400 is really bad?
Over 200 is bad.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure they don't have all the emissions laws that we do.
No, definitely not. The poor people burn dried cow patties.
Oh, a lot of methane.
And a lot of particulate.
So if you see straight ahead, that cluster of buildings is Chapel Hill.
Huh.
And then at 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock, that's Durham. Would you like to fly the plane for a bit?
Sure. I'm not going to get that chance again anytime soon.
Yeah. So basically, this controls roll axis. This is pitch, and then the rudder pedals help point the nose on the yaw axis.
All right. And am I trying to keep it level, or?
If you want to point towards Chapel Hill, or if you look just to the left, there's like a little grass, just sort of a big opening in the trees.
Yeah.
We'll point at that. That was the airport. We'll fly over that.
Am I keeping this pretty level?
We've climbed just a little bit, but that's fine. What we're going to do, if you turn the plane right just a little bit, point it more directly at the town, and we'll sort of line up straight with that runway and then just fly over it.
Wow, that does look really short.
What looks short?
The runway.
Yeah, it's 4,000 feet. For reference, the runway at Burlington is 6,400 feet. We're not going to land there because if you can see there are yellow X's on the runway,
Yep.
meaning the runway is closed, meaning the airport is closed. But they keep it open, they keep it maintained because
An emergency.
the helicopter's still flying there.
Huh.
And you can see the big tree patch off to the left. Carolina North Forest is right in there. All right, I'll take the controls back.
Yep.
All right, good job. Should be somewhere off to the right by that field, I think.
Oh, son of a gun. Yeah, I think we're right under the wing.
Right down there, I think.
Yep. Yeah, you are so right.
I'll head over to the campus now.
And when you get your commercial license, is it tied to specific ones that you've already flown, or?
Yeah, so the commercial rating you actually do in a plane like this, they used to have a requirement that you also had to fly airplane that's known as a complex aircraft, meaning it has retractable landing gear and a constant speed propeller. The FAA just got rid of that rule this year, actually, just to save cost due to the pilot shortage, so they're trying to bring as many people in aviation as possible. I still don't know whether Chapel Hill looks bigger or smaller from the air than you'd think.
Bigger to me. Although what there is besides the university.
Yeah.
So there's Moorhead. Oh, so there's Davey.
I really enjoy flying over more urban settings because you know there are people down there looking up at you. And that's how I got into it, I'm sure, seeing an airplane fly around somewhere. Because you fly around over farms, it's not, we're not going to see any flying cows anytime soon.
A lot more traffic around urban areas.
You mean air traffic? It depends. I mean, if there's an airport near it. So when that airport was open, yeah. Even now with all the hospital helicopter traffic, it is a place to watch out for. But we are on radar. So if somebody's talking with the people we're hearing right now, they can tell them, hey, there's a plane maneuvering over Chapel Hill. We're going to go up to 4,500 on the way back. The way it works is if you're flying at a heading between 1 and 180, you fly an altitude that's an odd altitude. And if you're between 181 and 360, then an even. And if you're flying in VFR conditions, you fly at 500 feet increments. And if you're in IFR, then you fly on the hard thousands.
Huh.
So that no matter who you are, it'll be very difficult to have two planes crash nose to nose.
And would something like this routinely operate as high as 10,000, or?
They call them service ceilings. I believe the service ceiling of this plane is 13,000, I think. Because these are not pressurized, so.
Right.
And the engine is a carbureted engine, so it needs the proper fuel-to-air mixture. And this red dial adjusts that fuel-to-air mixture the higher you go. So the higher you go, the less oxygen there is in the air, so you need to reduce the amount of fuel in there to compensate.
It's funny how different the same terrain looks from different heights. From here, the Piedmont looks flat with gentle undulations, and on the interstate, kind of similar on a mountain bike.
Yeah. You got a pretty good mountain straight ahead of us.
Oh yeah.
So now there's only one in the family who hasn't gone flying, right?
Right.
It took a while for my mom to be okay with me flying her. I don't know what, she was nervous. Whenever I left for a flying lesson, she would always text me when you're on the ground. I'm like, okay. We toured I don't know if you're familiar with AHEC.
Yeah.
They have UNC air operations that are based out of RDU, and the pilot that was giving us the tour last night told me that whenever he drops off passengers in RDU and they have to go and get in their car to go home, he tells them, okay, now's the dangerous part of your trip. Because statistically, flying is much safer than driving.
And where are your folks?
They're in Northern Virginia.
Which part?
Vienna.
Uh-huh.
So yeah. Unfortunately, I'm not able to fly over my house. I would be shot down if I tried to do that. And I met with a guy who was based out of Chapel Hill last year talking about the politics of the place closing and what to do. And he told me once he was doing a solo cross-country in the early 90s up to D.C., flying into College Park, Maryland. And it was like 11 at night, and the guy was like, Cessna, November, or whatever, do you want direct or the scenic route? He was like, I'll take the scenic route. So Cessna, Tango Alpha, fly heading is 030. See that? That's the Washington Monument. Cessna, Tango Alpha, fly heading is 360. See that? That's the Kennedy Center. And as he's telling me this story, my mouth is on the floor, because it's just like, I can't even dream of doing that now. Even when the Chapel Hill Airport was open, I had to come out here to rent to get the planes for the events because there's nothing out there for me to fly. I called it the North Korea of airports just because it was so restrictive. And I'm sure the night that it closed and those yellow X's fell on the runway, a bunch of deluded administrators had a toast in South Building before driving off in their cars with first in-flight license plates.
Does Duke have an airfield?
They don't. That airport was the most convenient to UNC and Duke, and like 500,000 people in the Triangle region.
I did a lot of research about it because we lobbied for it at the General Assembly. That was the transportation policy, but figured it out. We hooked both of them. They were both convinced, but then they went to figure it out. So we sent later, neither of them worked.
So Diane said you're originally from the Philadelphia area?
I was born in St. Louis.
Oh, okay.
And then moved to New Jersey. My parents split, and that was when I moved to Philadelphia. So I was Philly for middle school and high school.
Okay.
And that's where my best friends are from, and the sports teams that I pay the most attention to.
All right.
And Atlanta, Scotland, Delaware, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cleveland.
Wow.
And now Chapel Hill.
How long were you in Scotland for?
A year.
Wow.
St. Andrews. So which clump of buildings is Tanger Outlets?
Tanger Outlets. I am not sure.
Because that's where Jen is. I tried to convince her to come with, and she's like, no, but you can drop me at the outlets.
It might be down there.
So the two types of planes I fly are basically in two main categories, high wing and low wing, and this is a low wing. High wings, the wings are placed on the top of the fuselage, and you see more of them around, more people training them. It was what I did my first solo in and most of my training in, but I've really come to like the low wings. They're definitely sportier, and they're faster because they don't have the drag of the struts holding up the wing. When I flew into Concord Regional Airport over the summer, I was greeted with a controller who likes to sing, and it was quite entertaining. Scavengers 125, clear to land, runway 2. And I was just like, okay.
Making memories.
Nobody knew how to respond to him because everybody's trying to be all like proper, and he just was having a good old time. Ah. There we go. See if we can make this taxiway. Bit sloppy, but it worked out in the end.
Better than I could do. Well, that bird was unfazed.
Yeah, sometimes you get pretty close to them in the air and you wonder, it's like, can you not hear the fact that there's this big machine coming right at you with a spinning knife on the front?
Have you ever hit one?
Fortunately not, because if I did, it would be a bad day. It would ruin a lot. Like, I've seen videos of where they hit the windshield, it breaks through the windshield, and there's like guts everywhere, and it's just feathers and I've seen pictures online of people who, like, in the middle of the night hit a deer while, like, accelerating down the runway, and that is not a pleasant sight.